Thursday, folks. Cover 4 is back in session. Hey, Dave, you barely made it to the show.
Traffic in Dallas is not always fun. Hey, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
I swear it sprinkles in Dallas and no one knows how to drive.
It's unbelievable.
Anymore.
I made it with like 3 whole minutes to spare.
Here we are. Boy, do we have a show for you today. This is loaded. We are talking about our own locker room as well as the Jets and some matchups you got to take a look at. We're going to kick our show off with what he said and what he meant. And David and Tay, you go in the locker room. Barry, you've been in the locker room a lot. There's those guys that are just all business and have nothing to say to anyone except answering the questions. That is totally Zeke this year.
It is.
He is about his business. He's not shooting the breeze. I respect it. Very professional approach.
No bull.
Hey, I get what you did there.
So Zeke was asked, are you concerned at all about the amount of carries, the lowest in your career so far, that you're getting? And here was his response yesterday.
I just think it's kind of how the season's unfolded. I'm not really concerned at all. We're still the same offense. Started the season out, they were kind of easing me in, and then we got ahead in a couple games. We didn't play that much. So I'm not really concerned about the touches. I'm just concerned about just figuring out how to get things right in this offense.
I saw a story in the paper yesterday that was like the Cowboys have to get out of this pass-happy mentality. Am I crazy? Like, they're not pass happy. They were losing by 28 points the other day. That's what happens when you fall down. And then to Zeke's point, he just said it. They kicked a couple people's butts earlier in the season. Like, you're not going to throw your best running back into the line like that in a game where you're winning by 2 or 3 scores. I think this is a non-story.
I agree with you. I think it's a non-story. I mean, eventually he'll get his touches, he'll get his yards. He's the best back in the league for a reason. They just had to, the games dictate how much touches you get.
All right, so moving on to the next player in the Cowboys locker room. So we get back up to our desk yesterday. Dave sends me like an instant messenger, and it was this paragraph, and I was like, that's really deep. Where did that come from? It was right here from DeMarcus Lawrence. Take a listen.
I know you're not going to use excuses, but how compromised are you right there? You got a couple of things that on your body is nicked up.
Who cares? You care? Be honest. Do you really care? Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your feelings. Nobody cares you hurt. Nobody cares you broke, rich. Nobody cares. Who cares? Be you. Go to work. Peace.
So he was asked, are you playing injured at all? Like, do you think? And the answer is no. Go to work. Peace. I love it. I want that on my desk. But that's DeMarcus in and out every week. But what did he really mean by that, you guys think?
Well, and I think he really meant that. I think he knows that nobody cares. The other day, Dave was at my desk and he was like, I'm sorry. And I was like, are you really sorry, Dave? And he's like, I truly have nothing to be sorry for. I mean, we were talking before this show and we were saying fantasy football has changed the game. People do not care if you're playing injured. They want to see you produce, and it's a sad reality, and DeMarcus knows it.
I actually asked DeMarcus in the same interview if he was frustrated by, he's getting double teamed, triple teams, they're using wide receivers and tight ends on him. To me, I'm like, that's got to be frustrating, right? And he's like, no, because I knew what I signed on for. Like,
yeah, they know the truth.
Yeah, when you sign a deal like that, obviously you're good enough that teams are going to game plan against you. And obviously fans are going to be expecting you to produce regardless of what the tape says. He's a smart guy. He gets it.
Reach.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Barry.
Oh, so what have you done for me lately, League?
Sure.
And,
yes.
I mean, he's making that much money. I mean, you got to produce, and he's right. Nobody cares.
He's playing well, though, just for the record.
Also, if you see Robert Quinn doing good things, that means DeMarcus is as well, but we'll save that for later. Whatever. Let's go behind enemy lines, talk about some of these matchups with the Jets. You can't overlook them. Right, Dave?
Always, yeah. Especially
your matchup, you think La'el Collins is playing?
What? No. We just don't know for sure. La'el Collins is one of the toughest dudes I've ever met. He sprained his MCL, and the fact that we're not already ruling him out is incredible. Like,
this is true.
Never forget that. So we don't know what's going to happen. It might be Brandon Knight. For all we know, it could theoretically be Cam Fleming, I guess. The point being, I'm not super wowed by the Jets pass rushers. It's going to be Jordan Jenkins over on the right side. If La'el was 100% healthy, I think this is a very favorable matchup. But even if he plays, he won't be. So that's something I'm watching. Obviously, the pass rush was a problem for the Cowboys against the Packers. Jordan Jenkins isn't quite Preston or Zadarius Smith, but I still think that could be a problem spot. Unhealthy La'el or Brandon Knight, something to watch for.
Something to watch for. Well, the world is a crazy place. Life is crazy. And less than a year ago, Jason Witten was presenting the Pro Bowl MVP trophy to this guy, Jamal Adams. And now this week, he has to game plan for him. Yes, we talked about the Dallas native, Jamal Adams. He's a guy who can completely wreck your game plan. He is a true baller. He's a fierce heckler. He's a crazy guy. They might have him over Zeke, but likely over Witten or the tight ends in the red zone. It's curious to see how defensive coordinator Greg Williams will play him, but Jamal Adams is that dude. That is why his Twitter handle is at President Maul, because he is the president of the New York Jets.
That dude.
And another guy who is a really big weapon, probably doesn't get as much attention as he wants because the rest of the team might not be as talented as the others. Barry, take us to church on a matchup we cannot ignore.
Thank you, Lindsay, and welcome to church. For this Week 6 matchup, we'll be discussing the 3 musts to slow down Le'Veon Bell and this New York Jets offense. Number 1 must is you must wrap up when tackling this guy. He's a very strong, physical, and balanced runner who, if you just go in there with a shoulder or a flipper, he'll bounce right off of you and continue trucking for another 15 to 20 yards. So when you make contact, you must wrap this guy up, wait for your friends to come in and bring him down. And the number 2 must, and probably the most important muster is you have to be gap disciplined. If you're involved in that front 7 or front 8 guys and you have a gap, you have to remain disciplined. This is one of the most patient runners in the NFL. If you're in your gap and you're trying to piggy or peekaboo here, peekaboo there, or become Superman thinking you can make every tackle, the minute you leave your gap, Le'Veon Bell is going to go right through there for another 20 to 30 yard burst. So you must be gap disciplined. And as we see right there, number 3 is you have to have a plan of attack. I've seen this guy line up in the backfield, tight end, slot, even at number 1 receiver. And if you're a linebacker or a safety that's not used to covering out there on the island, you have to be patient. If you go out there at the line of scrimmage and you're lunging or you're reaching for him, he's going to teach you a lesson and make you look foolish out there. So you have to be patient with this guy at the line of scrimmage. Let him get all his shake and mix out the way. As soon as he declares where he's going, you put your hands on him and shut him down. Now, if you're going against him in the run and you're an edge defender, you have to have a plan and letting him not break contain. As we saw last week with Aaron Jones, if he's able to cross the defender's face, that's bad news for the defense. So if you're an edge defender, if you're a force defender, make sure you cut him off at the line of scrimmage and make him go back inside to the rest of your friends. And if you do that, you have a success this week. And those are the 3 musts of slowing down Le'Veon Bell and this New York Jets offense.
Barry, you're so good at that. Don't leave us.
Man.
We've only been here for 6 weeks. Let's go to TBT. We may or may not see Barry in some of these games. Take me back to 2011 when the Cowboys fell to the Jets 27-24.
Yeah.
These are only fun when you win.
And the big game, you guys saw the flag. This was 10-year anniversary of 9/11, so it's an emotional time in New York. Maybe charged him up a little bit.
Season opener, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
season opener.
I remember that.
What was that?
No reason.
Where, take me back to where you were there. Barry.
This was a young Barry. I was getting reps in dime, so I was only like a 3rd down player.
You were a young Jordan Lewis.
Yeah, there it is. I was
You called it your L. You barely played.
This is true.
Like,
This
come
is
on.
true. My boy McCray got a sack for a fumble in this
Okay.
game. So, I mean, we did do some work.
Shout out to
We did some
Denise
work.
Back.
game,
Oh, wow.
2015.
Part of this bad boy.
The kid goes in the game. Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator now for the Cowboys.
Why did Kellen Moore go in the game?
Because of Matt Castle.
Matt Castle threw probably the worst interception I've ever seen in my
Was it
life.
the intentional grounding
They threw a
play?
flag for intentional grounding on the play that got intercepted. That's how bad
Oh,
it was.
Eric
never
Decker, we
seen
miss you.
This was just an atrocious game
was bad.
at the tail end
Except
of an
for Eric
atrocious
Decker.
season. And it was a Saturday night. They made him play on a Saturday night because they're like, nobody wants to watch this on a Sunday.
Then we had the Christmas party on Monday, and all was right in the world.
That was nice.
We tried.
Not fond memories. But
Yeah, let's not do that again this Sunday. 2-minute drill today is going to be a fun one. Hope you guys did your homework or pulled up your Spotify.
You did your homework.
Apple
didn't you?
Music,
No,
maybe.
We were hoping you were going to carry this.
Who is the best rapper to come out of New York City? Throw me some names.
I'm gonna have to go with my boy 50 Cent. I mean, I know I get a lot of. I know.
That's how I know you're old.
This is Biggie. There's Jay-Z. There's a lot of big time rappers out of New York. But 50, I mean, he's so savage. I mean, he got so many things going outside of rap.
Right up. They just flashed him up.
There's Nas, Jadakiss. There's a lot
You're
of
gonna
good
say
rappers.
Jay-Z?
So, okay, actually, here's my thing.
You're gonna say Jay-Z?
I'm going to use my time to talk not about a rapper, but an album, because Illmatic by Nas is probably the best rap album ever. I don't want to hear it. Yeah, it's incredible. New York State of Mind, halftime. They play it at halftime of every Cowboys game because it rules. One Time for Your Mind. It's just hit after hit after hit. I don't think Nas really ever followed it up. Like, he's good. Don't get me wrong. He never followed it up, but it's beginning to end probably the best rap album ever. I don't want to hear it.
Notorious B.I.G. It was all a dream.
Nicki
Minaj, Cardi B. I mean, there are some great women out of New York.
I got up on my soapbox. Did we show the Wu-Tang Clan, the RZA, the GZA method? Like, that would be my next answer after Jay-Z and Nas. Wu-Tang
It's
forever.
unfortunate that we didn't do this for New Orleans week because I would have chosen you.
You would have chosen me.
Yeah, the best rapper out of New Orleans.
That's foolish.
Young
you got
Dave.
Wheezy, you got Juvie.
Yes, we
That's
call
a
him
different
Dave Bob.
conversation.
Dave Bob, all right.
We decided, I know she's not a rapper, but J-Lo, Jenny from the Block, halftime for the Super Bowl. Are we all in favor of that? How do you guys feel?
I'm all about it.
Yes.
She's so entertaining and beautiful.
I mean,
Those are qualifications you need.
Entertaining,
watch the Super
beautiful,
Bowl
fun to
halftime
watch.
show for a
I'll be
concert.
working watching the Cowboys.
Wow.
That's you, Dave.
Hey, putting it out there.
I would love to watch that live, Cowboys, if you could get me there.
So fun. It would be so fun.
I'd love for Dave to be a backup dancer. Can we make that?
Illmatic forever. Wu-Tang right after that. The Blueprint. There's a lot of good
Let's
answers.
do this every week.
Okay.
All right.
That
Next
was
week,
awesome.
Philly, Meek Mill. All right.
wants to talk about
Next week.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow, as always, Friday. To wrap it up, we got Boldies coming up. We got Friday Feelings. So we hope all of you will join us again tomorrow, 9:20 Central.
I'll
Be
on
there.
time. I'll be on time.
Thank you, Dave. You were today. Safety first.
You made it.